What's up, gamer? My name is Zuluko, and today I'm going to show you how to get more tier 17 maps in Path of Exile 1. Whenever a tier 16 map drops in an atlas that has at least one Voidstone socketed, there's a small chance that it'll be converted to a tier 17 map. In other words, maximizing the amount of tier 16 maps that drop means you'll get more tier 17 maps. It sounds pretty simple, but there are a couple tricks you need to know that'll make a significant difference in the success of your farming. The first and simplest trick is to get all 4 Voidstones for your atlas. Each Voidstone gives tier 16 maps that drop in your atlas a 0.4% chance to upgrade into a tier 17 map, so with all 4 that's a total of a 1.6% chance. Additionally, when you socket the last one, every single map on your atlas from top to bottom will become tier 16, which means that every map you get will be at least tier 16. If you don't know how to get all of the Voidstones, I also made a guide about that, which you can find linked in the description and the pinned comment. So like I said, when you have all 4 Voidstones socketed, every map you get will be at least tier 16. That doesn't mean that every map that drops will be tier 16, which leads us to the most important trick, the hidden system known as map equity. When you kill a monster and it drops a map, a roll is made to decide which tier it drops at. If there are maps on your atlas at the tier that gets rolled, one of those maps gets picked and the map item drops. If there are no maps on your atlas at the tier that was chosen, the map item will not drop, and you'll instead build up something called map equity. If you have enough equity when a map item drops, instead of rolling a tier randomly, the map equity you've built up will be spent to make the map item drop at the highest tier that you can afford. One of the major reasons it's so important to have all 4 Voidstones in your atlas is that higher tier maps cost far more map equity to drop than lower tier maps. So if you're farming tier 16 maps in an atlas with 3 Voidstones, the lowest tier map on that atlas will be tier 12. A tier 12 map costs a small fraction of the map equity that a tier 16 map costs. So your equity will never build up high enough to give you tier 16 maps, because it'll keep getting spent on tier 12 maps instead. With all 4 Voidstones in place, the lowest tier map that can drop will be tier 16. So the map equity will work in your favor to drop more tier 16s and therefore more tier 17s. The other way you can take advantage of the map equity system is to find ways to increase the tier of maps that drop even when you only have tier 16 maps available on your atlas. Specifically, these 2 nodes on the atlas tree called Shaping the Skies and Shaping the Mountains, each wheel gives tier 1 through 15 maps that drop in your atlas a 25% chance to get upgraded by 1 tier. So if you take both wheels, that's an extra 50% chance to upgrade. Like I said earlier, the first thing that happens when a map item drops is that it randomly rolls which tier it'll drop at. Then after that, the game checks to see if the selected tier is available on your atlas, and if the tier is available, you get the map, while if the tier is not available, you get the equity. The chance to increase tiers happens after the tier is selected, but before the game decides whether or not to give you the item or the equity. So if a map drops and it originally rolls at tier 15 and the chance to upgrade activates, then you get a free tier 16 map that didn't cost any map equity. Lastly, if a map rolls at any tier lower than 15 and activates the chance to upgrade, you get a much larger amount of equity than you would have gotten from a map at the original tier, because each tier of map gives significantly higher amounts of equity than the ones below it. No matter which tier a map gets rolled to drop at, it's always a good thing to bump the tier up by 1. So these 2 wheels are very worthwhile for both sustaining tier 16 maps and increasing the amount of tier 17 maps that drop. So yeah, those are the basic things you need to know about maximizing your tier 17 map drops. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them in the comments. If you found this guide helpful, don't forget to like and subscribe for more like it. If you'd like to support the channel directly, channel memberships are available under the join button. Lastly, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.